Okay, now we want to get to the clothing area, the arms, and eventually down to the legs. And I always like, if I hadn't told you in the beginning, I always like keeping my canvas about 200%. That way it makes it a little larger. And then I always zoom in and zoom out frequently to see my progress. But before we can do the actual clothes, we need to give her a neck. And whenever you're drawing a neck on a character, you know, the characters, you always have a head. The head's usually always bigger than the body. You give them kind of a narrow neck, a skinny neck. You don't have to get it too long. Sometimes I think people make their necks too long. But let's create a new layer. Excuse me. We're going to call this one neck. I'm going to sample the face color. That way we'll make the neck the same size. I'm going to give it a fill color using the pen tool. No stroke applied, just the fill. And basically you just kind of eyeball it. You want to go to the center of the head, the bottom of the roundness of the head here. You just want to kind of get to the center. You want to actually touch the chin area. And just make your point there. And make you another point and just come on over. You can kind of eyeball it how you want the neck, how wide you want the neck to be. That looks about good there. And it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly straight. Of course, you know, if you're always a perfectionist and you want it all to be straight the same width, you can. But right now, the top is probably a little narrower than the bottom. It's not really all the same width. I think that gives it a little bit more of a character, if you will. You know, not having everything just all the same. But there's nothing wrong with just deleting that. And if you wanted it to all be the same width, you know, just whatever your preference is. Now, since we're at a round chin, it is really a good idea to take, and when you close this shape out of the neck, you'll left click on it, and you could either just keep it straight across, or you could go with the shape of the chin a little bit. I wouldn't go under, because if you do that, you're going to wind up having some white space between the neck and the bottom of the chin. If anything, I would at least go a little bit above, and then you could let go and then click your selection tool, and you can see how it blends in nicely with the face there. And I don't really like the angle it's sitting on, so I'm going to click this and move it over to the left just a little bit, just to center it up just a little bit more. And then I'm going to lock that layer. And next, we're going to do, let's say we're going to do the right arm. Or let's call it the right side, really, because right now I'm not going to do the arm. I'm actually going to do the clothing. So let's just say let's just call it right clothes. Now, this is the part that I told you about where it will save you a lot of time, just like we did with the eyes, duplicating the eyes when we duplicated the blush and duplicated that part of the hair, and you just flip it. And the same goes with the clothes and the arms and things like that. Now, when you get to doing the arms and the legs, you may want your arms, one arm being in a different pose than the other arm. And if that's the case, what you can do is you can go ahead and flip it and duplicate that same arm, and then you can adjust it later, and you can have the other arm in a different pose, however you want it. But let's just give her, as far as the dress here, let's just go with a reddish color, I guess. You know, like I said, I'm not doing anything planned out here. I'm just doing it as we go. So basically, you'll want to start up, you know, with the center of the head. You see what my little green line is, the intersect line, basically around the center of the head. you want to draw half a close basically. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just start in the center of the neck. I'm going to give it one click, and I'm going to come out and guess about how wide I want the shoulders to be. I want the body to be smaller than the head, of course. So I'm going to actually left click there, and I'm going to give us a little bend for the shoulders. And then I'm going to take and use the Option key, click this center point. And then right here, I'm going to this is where I'm making room for the arms. So I'm just going to kind of give it a straight line here, guess about how wide I want her arms to be. And I'm just going to curve it in a little bit like that, just to make a socket for her arm. And then I'm going to come on down just about halfway point there. And I'm going to give her just a little bit of a curve. And then I'm going to come on out, because it's going to be a dress. I'm just going to come on out to the left side just a little bit. Going to kind of curve it just a little bit. And because I want this to be rounded a little, I'm just going to kind of round it just a little bit. So I'm going to click another point and just kind of bend it, just make it a little round. Then right here, this is the important part, because you want to go halfway. See where the line intersects, my little green line that goes up toward her neck? You can see that it meets with the other point. If you wanted to, you could go a little bit past the point, but I wouldn't go too far past the point. So I'm going to click where I'm at right now, because this is really where I want to be right here. I'm just going to make a straight line click, and then I'm going to go up to where it meets and closes this shape in the middle of the neck here. And then once I close the shape, I'm going to click my selection tool, and I'm going to deselect that. So now basically I have the half a dress. And as you can see here, I have a little arm socket. She's not going to have big arms. And that's one thing you can just kind of eyeball when you make that little socket curve with the pen tool. Just decide how big you want the arm to actually be. Now, when you're drawing characters, you know, they always have a big head, a little body, little arms, but you can, you know, make it however you want to. So now at this point, we want to take the selection tool and just click on that. And we'll want to go up to edit. We're going to go to copy, then go back to edit, and then paste in place. Now keep it selected and go up to object, transform, and do reflect, and then you can just click OK, because it will be at the right position at that point. And you can just slide it over either with your mouse or using your arrow keys, however you want to do that. And if you slide it too far, you'll notice you'll see a little white space here, but you want them to meet. So you always want to slide it to where it closes up. And if you'll also notice, it doesn't just close up real perfectly right here toward the bottom. You could use that to your advantage if you want to. You could make it look like it's have a button up here or so, and it's just kind of wind blown a little bit and it's not closed all the way together. But if you just want to go ahead and just close that up all together, you can just kind of just overlap it just a little bit, but you want to make sure you're centering with the neck and the head. So you can just take the left side, slide it over just a little bit, and you can close it in just like that. That overlaps it a little bit, and it still gives you a really nice shape there. So that's basically how you create the clothes, and how you can actually save time by just creating one half of the body and then just duplicating that. So next we're going to move in and we're going to show you how to draw the arms, and then we'll get into the hands and the legs.